Okay, good morning. It is a Tuesday morning. It's raining. Got real weather in here for a change. Very different than those atmospheric river weather events that we had a few days ago where it was just this nonstop, kind of persistent drizzle, right? That's how atmospheric rivers act. It's just sort of like a marathon of rain, of moisture just keeps coming, and it builds. This is atmospheric river influenced. There's components of this system today and Thursday's system that'll have some tropical moisture. And so the AR thing, all right, it's getting a little out of control because, yeah, it's an atmospheric river storm. I guess it's a storm, but it's not a classic like we saw a couple of days ago. So I'm just trying to, you're going to hear a little bit of everything. But either way, it's raining. It's raining good, too. We've gotten over a couple inches of rain. Marin County watersheds up over 4 inches of rain. It's snowing up around Lake Tahoe, but this is the top of, up by the tram up at Palisades. It's blowing, it's windy, and it's not freezing. See the water droplets indicating that, yeah, there's snow, but it's still not all that cold. Temperatures are in the 30s, mid 30s, low 30s. But it's windy up there, man, right? Wow. Okay, so we got a couple storms. We got today's storm, which is going good. It went good last night. It's going to go on and off good again today. That means storm, umbrellas, drive slow, yada, yada, yada. Tonight, it'll wind down a bunch after the afternoon commute. And we will be in a position where we will see a break on Wednesday, which is going to be perfect. Wednesday break. And then Thursday, we get back into a second less AR-ish weather system. And that's going to be about a third the strength of this. It's going to be a pared down version of this system. Same kind of idea. We'll have a little front with it, have a little bit of moisture, but everything will be cut in half or into quarters because it's not going to be as strong a storm. So what did I just say? Winter weather watch for winter, what is it? It's a flood watch, pardon me. There's a winter storm warning in the mountains. That'll stay in effect for a few days. And then there is the flood watch around the entire Bay Area. And again, flood is a word that gets people fired up because a flood is, if you're familiar with Lucky Drive or the bike trail over in Sausalito, that floods, and that's part of the urban and small stream flooding when they talk about that kind of thing. It's usually kind of just inconvenience flooding. When you see flood watches and even urban and small stream flood advisories. So when you see a flood warning that you've got problems, you've got either a big creek or a river overflowing, it's a different level of concern. But a flood watch makes sense. Ground saturated, stuff's happening. Here is Donner Summit, Soda Springs. They're going to be chaining up on and off all day. Are they chained up right now? I suspect they are. But I'm not going to tell you, chains just got dropped, chains just got lifted. What's the point? It's going to be chains on and off pretty much throughout the day today. And then again on Thursday. And you know that. It's February in the mountains, right? Because it's funny because we'll go, yeah, chain controls have been lifted. When they're lifted in the middle of a storm, it just means they're going to come back up again, or they're going to put them back in. And chains, a lot of people have four-wheel drive now. I guess probably most people. But chains are no fun to put on, and I've done it a few times. Here we are at Whitmore Grade, East 80, down a little lower. It's kind of slushy, sleety snow. Don't see any cars. They might be, this is 80. I keep waiting for somebody to go by. I don't know where they are, but maybe they slowing cars down. That's the point right there around Blue Canyon. There goes somebody. That's the point around Blue Canyon where they would start looking at cars for chains if they need them or not. Okay, so here are the watches, warnings, advisories. Pink in the mountains is a winter storm warning. That'll stay in effect it'll go down on Wednesday and it'll come back up again on Thursday probably. Green area, the dark green represents a flood advisory or a flood watch. Again, anytime you see flood watch, any kind of watch is just like, hey, just pay attention, watch. The advisory and the warning become, a little bit more powerful. This is a wind advisory in the Central Valley. This is a wind advisory along our coastal hills. And I think a lot of that wind verified last night. A high wind warning in the San Luis Obispo Hills outside of Santa Maria, out towards Santa Barbara in the hills above town there. And then a wind advisory in Santa Clarita. And still waiting on the rain, but it's coming. So you guys in LA, probably the next 24 hours or so, you'll get your opportunity to get some rain. So a lot going on in the mountains. We've got some pictures here from Palisades, Tahoe again. And those brave souls that go out skiing. I used to be that guy. Because back in the day, you'd get the day off. I'm going skiing, man. And the internet wasn't available. It wasn't the type of thing where you could go get on the internet and go, do what we're doing now. You would just get in the damn Buick Special, 1967 Buick Special. We would put rocks in the trunk. This is how smart we were, rear-wheel drive, to get through any sketchy spots, right? Rocks in the trunk to weight the back end of the car. And back in the 60s and 70s, there was a whole other deal going to Tahoe. It seemed you'd think we would have had half a clue, but we really didn't. We had chains and stuff, but we tried to avoid putting those on as best we could. Okay, I lost that picture. Let's go to the rainfall. This is the last 24 hours. And let's start up in the North Bay. 24-hour rainfall. This is pretty good because we already had a bit of rain, right? So I'm going to go slow because if you're like me, you've got a rain gauge and you want to make sure it verifies with all these guys, right? It's not going to be right on, but you want to see if you're in Bolinas Ridge and you got 3.5 inches and that sensor has 3.65, you're like, yeah, I'm in the ballpark. But you can see generally Marin County, especially in the watershed, a couple inches. And then, of course, Mount Tam, the star of it all, comes in at almost 4 inches. Well, Kentfield, almost 4 inches. I got San Anselmo, wow, almost over 4 inches of rain. So pretty significant rainfall in the North Bay. San Francisco, 2 inches of rain. I can guarantee you that causes problems on the roadways just because storm drains, things like that. That's the flood watch. That's what it's for. It's for the urban and small stream stuff. Storm drains get clogged up in an urban center like that. And you know how downtown San Francisco, it's kind of like a bowl, right? Down towards Market Street. So those streets have an opportunity to really get clogged up if there's any drains that are slow. East Bay Hills, in East Bay, about a 1/2 inch of rain. Let's go see what our friends in San Jose are doing. Oh, isn't that crazy, right? So Santa Cruz Mountains, a couple inches of rain. San Jose, 0.04 in the last 24 hours. So again, the AR influence system doing most of its work in the north, but that system slides through as we go into this afternoon. And so San Jose, you're going to end up with a 1/2 inch, maybe even an inch of rain by the time this is over. Wind directions, you know which way the winds are blowing. They blow towards the bubble, towards the black dot. And that flag is like the feathers of the arrow. And you can kind of go, this is a surface map. It's on the links. And this is just awesome because you can go, these are showing wind gusts and temperature right now. So we go up here, that's 32 degree temperature and wind gusts southwest at about 15 knots, gusting to, it doesn't really say on this one, gusting, I guess that would be gusting to 41. So pretty windy up on the ridgeline, but not as windy as it was last night. The satellite loop, let's see if I can push this in here. And this is what's going through right now. So this area has got to slide through as we go into this afternoon. That's why the flood watch stays in effect all day. And that's why the afternoon commute is going to be a little bit less than wonderful. Okay, so the model, I looked at this yesterday. I feel like I might have gone too deep in the models and done too many models because it's like, that's a lot, right? You're looking at, we're going to roll with the GFS. It's a fine down the middle of the line model. If it diverges too much from the European model or the HRRR, I'll go use those. But right now, when they're all in the same ballpark, that's what we do. The models, that is. Okay, so here are the lines. This is a surface map. Lines close together represent wind, and I did just show you the wind in the area. This is a forecast model. It's right down at the surface, sea level, pressure, and rainfall. And so here we are, and circle around us. This is this morning, which looks about right. Look at that area loading up. That is this afternoon, and that looks pretty juicy in the North Bay. So that's that secondary wave coming in. Wow, look at that. So that's tonight. That's pretty good. It moves through pretty quick. That's when snow levels really drop in the mountains. And then see the lines, how close together they are there in that little squall, if you will. Watch, I'll back it up a little bit. See how they sort of, it pinches up real tight in there. So that's an indication a strong engine, a strong mechanism to get it to rain or snow up there. So it's going to be, this is on Wednesday, late night, early morning. So the mountains will be not going to have much of a break. Then we get a break Wednesday all day for most of us. Even the mountains get a break in the afternoon. So Wednesday's your dry day. Because, right, remember the thing to know about California, Northern California, for sure. You get a day break, a rain day like today, a break tomorrow, there it is, and more rain, and then a break the next day, it's game on. Let's change the scenario. Go, okay, rained yesterday, or day before yesterday, don't get a break on Monday. Rains again on Tuesday, don't get a break. Rains again on Wednesday. You got the flood watch turns into flood warnings and everything goes up. So anytime you get a break, you can kind of just go, okay. Except for the urban and small stream flooding. Okay, so here's our break day, Wednesday. And then here comes Thursday, which is Thursday morning. And you see it's a much less robust system. Cool, low snow levels, but just not as voracious as the other one. The one that's going through right now. Today's storm is pretty good. I'd give it an 8 out of 10, just from what I've seen thus far. And if it produces further, it'll be maybe an 8.5 out of 10. So, and then that's the long range stuff that's getting way down the road. So here's the expected rainfall by Wednesday afternoon, and you can see San Francisco a couple inches, San Jose 3/4 of an inch. Bullseyes where you anticipate them to be in the topographically favored areas of Northern California. And that's why Governor Brown, Jerry's dad, why he okayed and really pushed for Lake Orville, because look at that watershed on that Feather River Canyon up there. So Lake Orville was part of the Central Valley Water Project. And like I said, I watched him build it. And I got to tell you, that's back in the day. When you're watching dudes build dams, the equipment they used to use as you're a little kid, it was like all that Tonka toys, but in real life, like big things. And it's an earth-filled dam, Orville Dam. So I think at the time, it was the largest earth-filled dam in the world, which was like, wow, earth-filled dam, right? So that's when the spillway went, why people were, I was worried. We were all worried because it's an earth-filled dam. It's not concrete. It's just dirt. So when you start eroding that, when that cap got blown out and that dirt started eroding, you've seen what it does on the hillsides out here. So anyway, largest earth-filled dam in the world. I should check and make sure it still is, but I think it is. Oh yeah, one more thing. Now that we're back, kind of past the model. Okay, yes, the trophy. I know, and it's funny. It's not my style at all. Like I got a couple others over there. And the only reason I did it was because I thought I don't come off much like a TV weather guy. And sometimes people put their trust in that. You trust what you know. And so I thought, well, if I show, look, I got a TV award thing, then you'll kind of go, people that don't know me, you guys know me. If people don't know me, go, oh, he surfs a little bit and he gets out a bunch, but he's still got the pops, right? So it's almost like saying, oh, look, I got a degree from Berkeley. It's like, oh, I got accepted by this group. I know. It's a little blowhardy. I know. I personally, aesthetically, think it looks awesome. Emotionally, I struggle. Somebody mentioned it yesterday. I was like, yeah. He goes, I said, why do you watch this channel? And he goes, something. And then I really like the trophy. I'm like, yeah, it's not a trophy. It's an award, man. Okay, ramble. This is a U.S. forecast. So you can just glance at this. The pinks represent snow, concerns for snow. The green represents a flood advisory. That's up in the Central Valley, right? And that's that's the Feather River Drainage Basin, the American River Drainage Basin. Listen, they lost a lot of snow. The cubic feet per second CFS have gone way up. And so you're starting to see inflows into the smaller creeks and tributaries in the foothills that are starting to bubble up. All business as usual in California. It's the way it should be. Here's tomorrow's forecast. You can see, Southern California, hello. You guys are getting some rain, and the cold front actually gets all the way down there. A little bit cold front, almost an occluded front, but rain in Southern California. Not a ton, but maybe a 1/4 inch, maybe a little more. We get our break day tomorrow. Pacific Northwest never gets a break because they're right in the bullseye. So if you're flying to Seattle or Portland, right, LAX won't have any problems. Reno's fine. And then you get out here in the Ohio, Mississippi Valley, you're getting into icing. So these orange areas represent freezing, rain, snow, ice. And when you're flying, that can be a drag, especially in Chicago, New York, places like that. So it's going to be, I think you're going to see some flight delays develop from there, and the ripple effect that occurs, right? If Chicago gets slowed down, that messes with Dallas. Newark gets slowed down, that messes with Atlanta. So you get the idea. So this is sort of areas of concern weather-wise the next couple of days. This is, if you're a surfer, you know where it is. It's a secret spot, but I wonder if it shows you. Yeah, you can't really know coordinates, right? Yeah, I don't want to give anything away. Yeah, it's a secret spot. It's an awesome secret spot. I was down there just the other day. But what I wanted to show you is, this is further south. And what I wanted you to see where the clouds are working their way into the Southern California area. This is Ocean Beach. You see the watercolor changing a little bit because you got water coming out through the Golden Gate Bridge. It runs out of the rivers. So the sediments that get in the water change the ocean. The wind does too, because it stirs up in the beach because of the sands and the stirring up of the beach. But you also got a ton of silt and sand and debris that comes out through the Golden Gate Bridge and goes right by Ocean Beach. So we used to try to avoid surfing in the ocean. After tried, we'd go out anyway. But we used to get sick. I was in the hospital one time because I got like bacterial pneumonia and it came on quick. But we would go out, right? Because this isn't good. But the net tomorrow might be good when the winds shift around. But the water gets pretty sketchy, and especially if you think about your storm drains. Now think about everybody's storm drains. I mean, everybody, from Redding, Sacramento, everybody, it all essentially empties into the Delta. And the Delta essentially empties out into Ocean Beach. And it's all that sediment stuff gets boiled down and condensed into pretty dense stuff. And it goes out the gate on the outgoing tide, and it goes right down the beach. That's why the sandbars are so good, because all that sediment settles out. But it's probably not that good for you. Okay, I went looking for some better weather. This is Doheny, which is just below Dana Point. I don't know if it's Dana or Dana. I always thought it was Dana Point. I think the locals call it Dana Point, but I read the book 2 years before the mast, Richard Henry Dana, which is Dana. But that's an awesome book. Law student. Wasn't feeling good in the old days, in the 1830s. In the old days, they would put you on a ship from the East Coast, because that was kind of in the beginning when they realized cities were not healthy, for whether it be industrial stuff. So they put if you had the ability to spend the money, you could put yourself on a ship and go work in California or go to California. It's a place to go to get healthy, especially in the early 1900s. Anyway, Richard was a law student. I think he was at Yale. Really smart guy, but he had some ailments. His father put him on a hide ship, and they went up and down the coast. I'm getting there. Went up and down the coast of California, I believe in the 1830s. Yeah, probably before the gold rush. And back then, the Spanish and the missions were trading hides with the Americans. So they would go up and down the coast and collect hides from these hide houses along the coast. And the hides they'd string them out, and they'd put them on. I think they would use like they'd use like loops, right, with wood, bendable wood, like branches. And they would spread these hides out so they could stack them in the hull of the ship. Thousands of them, and then they would get in there, and then they'd take them back to the East Coast. They'd make shoes out of them. This was the hide trade was huge between Spanish and in the United States at that time. Well, anyway, Henry was doing this, and he writes about it, and he writes about it beautifully, about the people, about what he saw. So think about California in the 1830s. Think about the things he talks about, the Spanish, the missions when they were kind of in the height of the Indians when they were sort of being subjugated, and just but anyway, that book, 2 years before the mast, Literally all time. It is a must read if you're a California person, and I bet you already read it. But Dana Point, get to the end of the story. Dana Point is where he wrote about it's kind of up high. If you can picture Dana Point. It's up high over the bluffs, and they would. I can't remember. I think the surf was too big to bring them in the longboats. In other words, to put the hides in the longboats. So they started flinging them off the point like frisbees. And he loved it. That was like that, because back then they didn't fool around much, and this was like big fun for them. So they'd have these big hides, and they'd fling them off the bluffs, and I don't know. Whenever I think of Dana Point, I think of that because, and this is Doheny, which is just below Dana Point by the new harbor. But that's a great book. Okay, so that was a ramble. Sorry. Appreciate all of you guys. Thanks again for the comments yesterday. I really do appreciate it because it helps me kind of guide the ship what we want to do. And sometimes I think, like yesterday, I think I went too long on the models, just because I think I need to give the weather up front and then kind of backload it with pictures and things that we want to talk about or that you might be interested in. Okay, so that's that. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Take care. Have a great day. Drive safe.